For this week, forget my long box, what's in Wullie's film collection. So, tonight's Carry On Streaming is all about serial killers, is it? Well, I'm going to give you my top 5 serial killer films. These are my 5 favourites. Hold on to your hats. In at number 5, Time After Time. This 1979 high-concept mashup of sci-fi romantic comedy and psycho-thriller sees Malcolm McDowell's H.G. Wells travel forward in time to San Francisco in 1979, chasing after his friend, who it turns out is actually Jack the Ripper, played by David Warner. Written and directed by Nicholas Meyer, director of Star Trek II, The Wrath of Yan, Time After Time is a fun fish-out-of-water film with playful performances by McDowell and Mary Steenburgen, and Warner is a great Jack the Ripper, equal parts subtle and deranged. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's a little rough around the edges, but it's fun. In at number 4, Michael Mann's Manhunter. Forget Silence of the Lambs, this is the definitive Hannibal Lecter film. Dundee's very own Brian Cox plays a fictional serial killer with a relaxed sense of normality and stillness that's far more chilling than Anthony Hopkins' gothic pantomime performance. Cox chillingly modelled his Lecter on real-life Scottish serial killer Peter Manwell, and it shows. This character is believable. Tom Noonan as a Tooth Fairy gives an equally powerful and underplayed performance. All of Mann's trademark, arty, stylish qualities are evident in what is essentially a great little thriller. In at number 3, Murder by Decree is a fun thriller directed by the late great Bob Clark, director of that other great serial killer movie, Black Christmas, and Porky's. Murder by Decree pits Christopher Plummer's Sherlock Holmes and James Mason's Watson against Jack the Ripper. He's back. In a very convoluted, old-fashioned whodunit. It's a Sunday afternoon classic. Makes you all warm and fuzzy. It's a fun movie. Give it a look. Number 2. Christian Bale's Patrick Bateman from American Psycho is one of cinema's most interesting serial killars. Mary Harron's funny and shocking adaptation of Bret Easton Ellis's controversial novel allows Bale to have fun playing a manipulative, sick character that leads us through his life as a serial killer and a successful investment banker. You could decide which is worst. The film and book plays with the idea that we are actually seeing the world through the eyes of a real serial killer, or perhaps a fantasist who imagines and exploits the killer scenarios for our thrill-seeking benefit. Harron is a fascinating director who manages to get into the head of her lead characters and exposes them for the viewer to understand, and this film, like most of her other films, is a true original. Number 1. White of the Eye. Acclaimed Scottish portrait painter, screenwriter and director and all-round clever dick and Renaissance man Donald Cammell crafted one of the most atmospheric and disturbing films of the 80s with White of the Eye. This is a grueling psychological thriller slash whodunit told in a dreamlike slash nightmarish non-linear fashion. It features strong acting from David Keith and Cathy Moriarty, a weirdly evocative score by Nick Mason of Pink Floyd and Rick Fenn of 10cc, and a wicked sense of absurd humour and surreal imagery, all combining to create a very discombobulating experience. The influence of Dario Argento is there for all to see in the stylish killings, but this is a true original. There's not another film out there like it. There are a lot of close-ups of eyes in this movie, and that in itself is rather disturbing. And that leads us to this week's question. Harkening back to Time After Time and Murder by Decree, which characters, fictional or real, would you like to see pitted against Jack the Ripper in a movie?